Attention gamers. Riot has officially ruined Yumi in the latest round of nerfs that were so big there are copyright lawsuits pending to the point where she is a joke, a dead champ with a win rate lower than the average Yasuo main's IQ that no one wants to see in their games. I'm assuming there's a 3-step Riot rework process where they release a champ that everyone hates or that no one plays, then they nerf it into oblivion so that when they finally rework it they get to be the hero and everyone will give them skin money, and they've just reached stage 2 in this process with Yumi. But this fixed nothing as the problem with Yumi will always revolve around how she is designed to make the snowball aspect of this game much more dramatic, and I think we can agree that it gets super annoying. So today I have the perfect example of why she's still hated, where she's a useless lump ticket to a free 4v5 early until someone starts snowballing and then she AFKs on that player and makes the whole game intolerable for everyone else. Now full disclosure, this video was supposed to be about the new Infinity Edge changes and how you can play with the grown-ups one item earlier now, but I forgot that when you get an autofilled support, no matter how many times you tell her there's a large lady riding her deflated elephant in the shrubs, she's still gonna walk up like she's possessed to go there, get picked and die like a dumbass, so you spend your first game getting in Naruto Ezreal's face like you're trying to convert him to Mormonism just to keep her alive. So even though later on you have one large hit of the double killing dopamine while the character you're playing is getting her hits of post-kill cocaine, an enemy ice cube has your name on it, and since you were the one peeling for your support all game, the first attempt was a no-go. Numero 2, you had an Amumu support who thought that seeing all 5 enemies grouped up, juiced up and ready to run a marathon holding hands meant he should volunteer as tribute to sit in our fountain. Better yet, my Lee gave up literally right there, only to later reveal that his girlfriend didn't like the Build-A-Bear he gave her, and while I empathize for anyone going through some shiz, I would have appreciated if he didn't just troll his build and intentionally feed all game. Third charm was gonna be a try is the saying when it comes to League, I believe, and I went mid after being tethered to brainless buffoons all morning knowing that the junglers would be the closest thing that I'd need to worry about, and I figured that'd be fine until mine did this. This left me wondering why I'm still playing this game, because after calling someone's mother diabetic, Riot was going to ensure that I didn't make new friends, and based on the cast of characters I was getting assigned as teammates, it wasn't looking like LP was the reason I'd be playing today. But then I remembered I play League to earn points and claim rewards, and anyone can do this by using Buff. Buff not only will be giving away $5 in RP to 10 people who actually watch the next 40 seconds of this video without clicking ahead, but they are also a lightweight app authorized by Overwolf that awards players for simply playing their favorite games. It has tons of new features that allow you to claim daily prizes, compete on leaderboards for extra points, and even contests around your best highlights from games, but its bread and butter boils down to you earning points by doing nothing but suffering through your games, which means if you just experienced a fail fest spree like I just described, it won't have been a total waste of time, because all that time you earned points that you can then go and redeem for gift cards, goodies, and even Riot RP cards, which they are now restocking daily. As you can see, on a random Friday I was able to get some. So use my link below to try Buff for free, and 10 people who comment #downloaded Buff with their Buff username will win $5 in RP. Alright, so back to my perfect example of why Yumi can suck a butt and should be removed from the Rift. At the start of the game you can see she's about as useful as a screen door on a submarine, so me and some chick with a arrow tattoo on her ass are free to walk right up to Miss Frisbee and uninvite her from our presence. Then if Andrew Tate were here he would make a comment about how pussy can't accomplish anything alone, and in this very specific case I think he's right. As you see, there wasn't much of a fight when it was time to put her in the crate. And typically I'm down to play more aggro than a mob in an MMO that attacks you when you get too close, but my support was low, so I was thinking let's just farm simulator this shiz for a hot minute. But she was all like, they don't call me an asshole for nothing, and then proceeds to run in and take one straight up the taint, leaving me over here singing Disney shit, hoping the teacup from Beauty and the Beast will come over telling me to be his guest or some shit, as he cries on the carrion I4 at the one with the fur. So congrats Riot, you made early game Yumi useless, and after doing nothing in bot for a few years she decides to reverse LeBron this shit and take her talent to the North Beaches, while I ping the piss out of my map to let my jungler know that while there are always bigger fish to fry, there's also a bigger cat in this one to deal with, which turned into a slightly better experience for me than for the crying cup of tea. Anyways, Sivir is now one of the lucky ones who gets to live out firsthand why high elo players say ADC is a good role, while the majority of us at my rank are trying to find a Prozac dealer from being abandoned in lane, getting killed under tower, losing multiple waves, and worst of all, having your own Gromp woken up. All while this quote-unquote support has switched her AFK screensaver from Sivir Splash Art to Ari before misunderstanding that Zoe feet pics aren't actually behind a dono paywall and handing her a bunch of gold when a perverted Google search would have done the trick. A little birdie tells us that someone is thinking this is Hunter x Hunter solo player and trying to kill a dragon without thinking that young Earl Grey and yours truly won't try to murder him for it. Hey, let's fast forward through some boring shit that no one wants to see until it's the good guys in position to take the Drake. I'm playing 6 screens back due to pure ADC PTSD until Foxy Mama is lubed up and ready to learn what the force of Gale feels like. And then I follow Miss Frisbee to make sure she continues having a terrible time. But here's where the Yuumi problem starts to form, as you'd think the average League player would be all for pussy on pussy action, but it's quickly going to make the game insufferable for the rest of us, starting with baby Rapunzel here. So she finds her new steed to carry her around while her own ADC is probably looking up nooses on Amazon, but it doesn't matter because it'll just turn Rengar into a 1v9 bush bobbing bloody murder machine with no counterplay. And a minute later, when they are skinny dipping in water that's a little too deep for them considering they forgot their floaties at home, she can just abandon the Uber that's about to drive her off a cliff and instantly get in one with a better driver who now has one more full item's worth of AP to finish off the pot of crying chamomile before exchanging a few words with the girl who fed Viagra to her sword before she pisses off. I've now rotated mid after a hard day's work of 2v1ing a wee itty bitty solo lane Sivir, and when the tit that Tabby is tethered to takes a nap, she hops off to prove just how useless she is when she isn't freeloading, so I volunteer as he who takes a bite out of that Wonder Bread thinking I'm fed AF. What's the worst that could happen? Anyways, the next dragon spawns, and since we are all silver players, no one has done any prep work or lane management before, so we all show up like a bunch of high school chicks with no makeup on, just blatantly unprepared to take on any challenges until we get our pumpkin spice Ariana Grande Charlie D'Amelio white girl latte. And fortunately for us at this point in the game, the other team is all much uglier without makeup still, so I guess you could say that particular fight is going to stay in their TikTok drafts for eternity. But let's not forget the reason we have all gathered here today, and that's to talk shit about Yuumi's and the e-girl/bot leveling accounts that play her. As you see, this one has marked her territory on Rengar's taint, and the two of them just can't wait to announce to Hoppy Zelda their new relationship status as the two cats that will be giving my team cancer for the rest of the game. And while anyone with eyeballs would have just seen the 3v1 homicide that just went down up there, my Ash is rushing to the crime scene as if her dumbass is gonna go collect DNA, and so one thing leads to another, and in my ELO the theme is let's go try to save the stupid shitter, which typically results in a single file line with everyone waiting to get aced. Yuumi has now abandoned any sense of how the game should be played, as she is now even accommodating Rengar on his jungle clears, which literally doesn't even earn her experience, but it doesn't matter because the super snowball of a fed Rengar has already started rolling, and a measly river ward isn't gonna do jack shit at this point to save Box from finding himself back in his own black and white box. Keep in mind I'm the designated fed player on the other team, which is destined to present its own set of problems for my team soon enough, but after equally distributing my ult bullets so well that I could waste the fourth then run a socialism-based presidency campaign, I come in and burn a cooldown to kill the cat. Then just when you think the dust is settling, the beast from Beauty and the Beast hops out saying, "How dare you sing to people in this fucked up haunted house," but we all put our brave faces on and politely fuck him up. And I want to include this next clip as Exhibit A in making my case that the Yuumi funnel can make even the most dumb shit of players carry a game by demonstrating the sheer lack of functioning brain cells that are operating in this Rengar's head at any given time. Because it reaches a certain point where the APM requirement of this Yuumi sits at a resounding 3 for something like this to happen, as you then see yours truly minding my own fucking business, just trying to commute home from work the dangerous way, only to deal with some bullshit that does nothing but reaffirm why I'm more of a dog person. You see, typically Rengars or Fed assassins have weaknesses too, like yeah, they can jump in and absolutely remove someone from the universe and take a PP on their grave, but then they have to deal with that person's family who is pissed and would all like to bitch slap them. But thanks to this infinitely scalable item called Yuumi, that weakness gets eliminated, along with most players' desire to keep playing a game where she still exists as a champion. Don't get me wrong, there will still be those extreme situations where they get cocky and bite off more than they can chew, or I guess suck in the case of Yuumi mains, so we did occasionally get to celebrate the royal fuck-ups as a team. But at the end of the day, once the game hits 30 minutes and you have at least one champ who has gotten ahead, it creates a situation where there is so much margin for error to play like a board-certified moron and still come out on top, especially if the enemy Jin deems a situation like this one that's worth ulting in, and that, my friends, is why even if you nerf Yumi into the litter box and make her win rate absolutely garbage, outside of the one Rengar in each game, everyone else would have probably had any other champ on their team. So type 1 below if you think the rework should just be a removal instead, and don't forget about the sponsored buff giveaway in the comments. Rav out.